Hello everybody and welcome to another educational video about a fandom species. This one is about Manokits. Manokits are a relatively simple species to explain compared to wicker beasts. They're a mix of foxes and sharks, and Manokit is a portmanteau of Mano, meaning shark in Hawaiian, and Kit, meaning fox in Japanese. Much easier to explain than wicker beasts in terms of appearance because it's essentially just two animals stuck together. But you know I wouldn't be talking about it if it were as simple as that, because you could just Google that. No, we got a lot to go over, and I'm going to go over, well, pretty much most of it, pretty much all of it. Like wicker beasts and protogen, Manokits have a pretty sizable amount of lore to go through, but I wanted to avoid making the same videos others have, of course, but the videos on Manokits are pretty old now, and there's new info about them. Info about them that other YouTubers might not have covered. But unlike my video about wicker beasts, I did not try to get into contact with the species owner. This is actually because it's pretty hard to find information on them. If there's a Discord or Telegram group for them, I couldn't find it. And the original creator left the furry fandom and passed the species on to someone else. The original owner, Dubmutt, was also involved in a bit of controversy due to this. The only thing I could find on it was an Artist Beware post. An Artist Beware is essentially when an artist is being accused of screwing over someone that they owe work to. Typically in the form of fursuits or art, an artist is paid for it, and in the case that the artist doesn't follow through and give the art, they are posted on Artist Beware. This is usually an absolute last effort on the part of the commissioner, because this can potentially ruin an entire person's career as an artist. When Dubmutt left the fandom, they cancelled a lot of commissions, refunded, and possibly forgot or didn't make refunds to other people. I don't know how much of this is true, but typically people only post an Artist Beware as the last results, as I mentioned. I've personally waited 3 years for a commission before and never even thought about doing it an Artist Beware. I did find an account, however, called Manokit Official. However, it seems the account is now dead. They haven't posted in years besides the species update, which I'm about to show in this video. This species also doesn't have a website like Dutch Angel Dragons and wicker beasts. So, as you figured out by now, it's not easy to find up-to-date information about them. However, they are still a very popular species, with people still making new OCs and fursuits of them all the time. Now for what you came for. Manokits. And this will be divided up by the old info, which is the basic stuff that you know if you've seen similar videos, and new stuff that was added about a year ago to the lore. But before we start, with how YouTube works, even if I make a good video, it might go entirely ignored. You have to tell YouTube how you feel about this video so they know to share it with others, and the best way to do that is by liking, disliking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to watch more fandom species content, like Manokits and wicker beasts, make sure to subscribe. Manokits are a hybrid species that is open and anyone can make a character of. There are few limitations, and you're also not allowed to lewd them, which may be because of the lore, which I will get to soon. Manokit, as I said, are a mix of foxes and sharks that come from Hawaii. If you're familiar with the Manokits at all, you've likely seen them as this variant. This is the original Manokit, and a lot of the information shown here has changed, but I'll go over it anyway as a refresher to anyone who may have seen someone else's video probably a long time ago. I think the only other person to really make a video on this was BetaEtaDelota, but the original Manokit is easily identifiable by several traits. The squinting eyes, because of their partial blindness, massive pyramid-shaped noses, raptor-like posture, they waddle, ears pointed back and droopy, and shark teeth arranged in a canid-like pattern. Originally in the lore, these fellas were actually poor swimmers and chose to live on land despite being part shark and have a primarily pescatarian diet. Manokits have a few other unique features. They're completely furred, even on their sharky-like appendages like the tail and fin. Also, despite being a species that stand upright, they have retained dog paws and forearms. But the weirdest fact about them is that they don't reproduce via intercourse. They find a partner. The gender and sex of the pairing doesn't matter, so gay pairings can have offspring. Then they find a suitable object in which to put the new life into, such as coconuts, and using magic, they put the baby in it. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm being completely serious. Because of this weird reproduction method and the lack of genitalia, they can't be drawn in NSFW, because if they were to, that character wouldn't actually be a canonical Manokit.
No dick, no balls, And probably no butthole since this guy feeds on radiation.
Now for the post-dub mutt stuff. The new lore has divided Manokit into 3 variations called Beach Dwellers, Tribal, and Holo form. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I will be pronouncing it, because I assume it's meant to be not Holo form. I assume it's being pronounced Holo. We'll go over Beach Dwellers next, as they're the most similar to the original Manokit. Beach Dwellers. Beach Dwellers are very similar in appearance to the original Manokit, although they stand more upright but still retain the original raptor shape. They stand at about 4'5" to 5 feet tall. Unlike the original Manokit, Beach Dwellers are great swimmers because of their use of magic in swimming, which is a welcome addition to the lore because, honestly, the only magical thing about them before was their reproduction method, so this does establish magic outside of that one quirk, making it seem less forced and more natural to the actual, way they live. Being the cute fluffy friends they are, they don't really try to hide their presence. They're spotted keeping the ocean safe by steering larger animals away from the shore and playing with fish. This is great because I just learned fish can feel depression, so they really need the friends. Also, think about that the next time you look at your goldfish chilling in their glass prison. Further updates in the lore include that they're blind because they're used to swimming more than being on the beach. They spend a lot of time in the deep, and when they step out, it's like stepping out of the vault. Despite this propensity for long swims, they don't have gills and use magic to hold their breath longer. Let's put a counter on the screen for each time something is explained with magic. Apparently not all beach dwellers are born equally magical and are grounded because of that. Their diet is still primarily fish, but they really like pineapples and other sweet fruits. When it comes to hunting, they tend to stick to crabs and small fish. This has made relatively easy work for them due to evolutionary traits such as camouflage that they use to hide themselves from their prey, or to make themselves look more attractive. Which I really don't get why they would need to dress up to find a mate since they can just bibbidi-bobbidi boop a kid into a coconut, but whatever. The evolutionary advantages extend beyond this, even with advantages like bioluminescent eyes and markings, extra or bigger fins, and fins looking like other species of fish. The guide mentions beta fish, and I'm trying my best to not imagine them fighting each other like beta fish do. The rest of the guide for them mostly goes over lane speed, which only matters if you're trying to figure out how many squares they can move in Dungeons & Dragons. Their religion, which also only helps if they're a paladin or cleric, and how they communicate. They purr at each other and occasionally whistle to communicate with the other variants called tribals. Tribals are Manokit that stand fully upright like humanoids and no longer have the raptor-like posture. They even have hands and wear clothes now, but because of this adaptation they have lost their swimming prowess. They have since moved away from the beaches and shores of their home and taken up new lives amongst the forest and mountains where they're able to climb, hunt, and live. I think this change is likely for the fursuiters out there. I'm sure posing like a raptor isn't great for your back. Their diet is mostly unchanged, but how they go about it has. They continue to be primarily pescatarians, but now craft tools to help them with that, such as fishing nets. They also occasionally chomp on burbs. The magic the species possesses also has adapted to their new lifestyle. They focus mostly on druidic efforts and use their nature to improve life on the land. I already checked out, and they don't know change shapes, so they can't turn into bears or anything. They can also see a lot better now. They keep their eyes open and can see just fine during the day, but struggle at night. They do squint if the sun is too bright, but I mean, same. They've also lost extra fins, and some don't even have a back fin anymore. They run at a maximum speed of 15 miles per hour, which translates into about 6 squares normal movement speed. Let me know if you get tired of the D&D jokes. Not like it matters though, as I won't be seeing your comments until the video's uploaded. They mostly communicate via chirps now, and can still communicate with beach dwellers and stand slightly taller than BDs at about 5'5". Female tribals have breasts, but no nipples, since they don't nurse their young. Honestly, seems like you're trying to have it both ways now. I'm going to sound really whiny now because I really don't see the need for secondary sex characteristics like breasts when they don't even possess primary sex characteristics. It's only so you can tell the boys and girls apart, but you could have really expanded on the lore for something even more unique. I don't even really see the need for different sexes. The species could have been entirely sexless, and then each one just expresses gender on their own terms. You could have even played more into the magic by genders being defined by their magical presences or auras. I'm not upset. I just feel like this was a missed opportunity. I was joking about the change shape thing before, but it's actually a thing. I'm seriously typing the script as I read each section, so my D&D joke isn't even a joke. They can just cast change shape to turn into the feral form known as Holo. Holo form. Tribal who shapeshift into Holo are able to run faster now, being four-legged creatures. They can also go as fast as 60 miles per hour, which is as fast as Dugtrio can dig, and stand at 3 feet tall. This form can see a bit better at night, and their magic is now concentrated in maneuverability. Other than being four-legged and shorter, they retain other traits of their appearance, such as coloration. While this information is much shorter when compared to the lore of Wicker Beasts, it is still quite lengthy, so buckle up, because we have more to go over. The next part of the guide was a bit confusing. I thought I was missing a page due to how the left side reads, but it turns out I'm supposed to be reading this right to left like a manga. Babies. Baby Manokits aren't called Manokittens as much as I would love that. They're called Minos. Or Minos? I'm thinking of it like, I don't know, Greek pronunciation or something like that, Minos, but maybe it's Minos, like fish? Manokit reproduction may not be sexual, and things like gender and subspecies doesn't matter, but it's not without risks. Manokit must have a strong bond with their partner. They then participate in a ritual where each takes half of their soul and intertwines it with each other's halves. For a while, the parents are weakened and can't have another child for a couple of years. If they don't wait, they could potentially lose their magic or lives. Pretty convenient having to wait 2 years, though. They don't have to worry about having too many babies at once and dealing with the pain of 2 screaming minnows. Some may wish to have another child regardless of these warnings. In this case, a surrogate may be brought in. It's a pretty romantic idea, and this is an excellent use of magic in a species. Once they have combined their essences, they put it into a vessel. The vessel can be anything as long as it's hollow and coconut-sized or larger. Shown here, they can be born into vessels made of leaves or seaweed, or mundane objects like coconuts, bottles, beach balls, and carafes. They also leave gifts alongside the child's vessel for the god of their variant. If I made one, I would probably call them Message and say they were born in a bottle, and for extra cheesiness, it'd be a bottle of whatever booze the parents had on their first night as a couple. Vessels aren't simply just a womb for the baby, though. It can be used to predict the subspecies the minnow will be. Minnows are in their vessel for only a month or two and open their eyes at 3 months old. If that seems fast, they learn to speak at 4 months old. Imagine looking at a baby and they say, "Mother, give me the booba, I hunger." After this, they're still totally reliant on their parents until they're at least 1 year old. In the case that parents are different subspecies, this can result in minnows having traits that are from both parents, being a hybrid of the two. But they are forced to have magic from one of the two gods, and once it is chosen, it can't be changed. It's possible for a minnow to look more like its BD parent, but have the magic of the tribals. Now we're on to a new variant, hybrids. BD hybrids are taller, but have shorter fins and tails, sporting day vision, and can be drawn with eyes that aren't squinting as much. They also lose their land traveling skill and can't climb. Tribal hybrids can have additional fins, but have to have the shorter fin and tail size common in tribals. They can also be bioluminescent and are shorter like BDs. They of course can't swim the way BDs do. Twins can be born, but it's pretty rare. The parents are combining 2 halves to make a whole and have ended up with 2 wholes, or so it seems at least. When this happens, they party hard, with a festival spanning multiple days. It's been estimated that this occasion is as rare as 1 in 100. Unfortunately, due to the pair being made from 2 halves, they don't have a power each of their own. It's instead split between the two, resulting in more time spent learning how to use their magic. And it's possible only one of the two will excel, while the other is effectively a runt. In the worst case scenario, neither may end up having magic. Alright, well, that's the majority of it, so now it's time for the rules. If you want to create your own Manokit, here's what you need to look out for. Number 1, no wings. BDs can have large back fins or arm fins like manta ray and other fish, but the species is incapable of flight. 2, Manokit cannot be hybridized with other species. They then go over some subspecies and some I haven't heard of, which is great. Thanks for doing the research for me. Saves me some work. But some of the species that can't be hybridized are Sergals, Vernids, Dutch angel dragons, wicker beasts, protogens, gem raptors, closed species, and more. 3, no NSFW, as the species doesn't have genitals or nipples, not even tribals, which still have breasts despite not having nipples or nursing, but I've had my rant on that already. 4, tail features must follow the same shape as the fins and vice versa, so you can't mix manta ray and goldfish, for example. 5, no cyborgs or undead styling for either form. No ferals for BDs, no tribal posture for BDs, no gills, no wings. Tribals can't be drawn swimming in deep water, no raptor posture, and no wings. Both species can now have horns due to popular demand, but can only be on the head. Pupils must be round, No X shapes, split shapes, squares, horizontals, or other style of pupils. Basically a whole lot of rules. So, can you really call it an open species with that many rules still? Well, either way, I hope you wrote that down, because you'll probably need it as a checklist. I chose to leave out the facets of their religion due to this post running pretty long already, but I have a link in the description that will send you to the artist's post about this guide, in case you want to see it for yourself or use the guide to make your own Manokit. Now, did I make a Manokit for myself? No. As I was writing this, I was considering it. I have a lot of OCs, but about 7 or so. But Manokits just aren't really appealing to me. They're cute and their lore is really interesting, but the amount of rules are kind of off-putting, and they're relatively basic. It is just 2 animals squished together. I feel like you can't really call it an open species when you have like an entire book of laws like this. It's definitely a lot of people's thing, because there's still a lot of art being made of it, but it really isn't for me. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like it and subscribe for more videos on fandom species like Manokits and more. If you want, you can also sub to my Patreon. I have rewards for subs as low as $1, and you can even get your name in the credits or on an object in my room. But that'll be it for Manokits, and I don't know what video I'm going to do next, but yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all later. Stay batty.